Welcome to this Coffee with the Editor. We're at the International Railway Safety Council's annual conference hosted around the world, and this time it is here in South Africa. And for my Coffee with the Editor, I'm with none other than the CEO of PRASA, and we're just going to chat about one, safety, and two, a few things around the plans for the passenger rail agency. Hishaam, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so we're not going to go into too much detail about all the plans and policies around those plans, but I think two things are quite important for right now. The first being that this is a safety event, and having just heard you speak, safety is a big priority at PRASA.
It underpins what we do. For us to run our rail services, we've made it very clear that we are running a safe, reliable and predictable rail service. We've invested a lot in terms of safety as well as security on our network. It's been a challenge that we've had in the past, and I'm happy to share with you some of the progress that we have made within that space.
So before you share the progress with me, and I suppose this is part of the progress, congratulations, you've just opened a few more corridors. So if I understand correctly, you're now 26 of 40?
No, we are 26. There were a few that were operational post-COVID as well, that we're counting in the 26. And you're quite right, this week we just opened another corridor, which we, as well as the commuters, are very excited about.
I believe so. This is the one that you had the Minister of Transport with you, and she was engaging with various commuters on the train and just talking about the reduction in their transport costs as a result of the train opening.
That was the one in KZN, in KwaZulu-Natal. We opened the KwaMashu to Durban service. And then this month, in fact, we've launched a service already, is the Pretoria to Kaalfontein service. We are looking at October Transport Month to officially launch the corridor with the Minister. In fact, we will be launching it from Pretoria to Johannesburg. We've got now the no objection from the Railway Safety Regulator, also from the portion from Germiston to Park Station. So we can run a train now from Pretoria to Park Station.
So that's officially connecting all three metros.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's fantastic news. So whilst I was journeying here yesterday, I really am curious as to what's happening with our high-speed trains. We've been talking about it. We've been talking about Johannesburg to Durban. We've been talking about the potential for Johannesburg to Cape Town. Where's the reality for this?
As I mentioned in my speech earlier, I made a reference to Morocco, where the first high-speed train in Africa was recently launched, but that was 20 years in the making. Now, I'm not saying we have to wait that long. We need to finalize the planning around this. There's been some planning that has been done, some feasibilities, be it the Johannesburg to Durban, be it the Johannesburg to Polokwane, which also has quite a lot of potential, and then Johannesburg Cape Town. Obviously, we need to deal with the distance and how do we look at some of the key town stops along the way. But critical, I think the National Rail Policy makes provision for high speed. It recognizes high speed rail as a critical element for the sustainability of long distance passenger rail. If you look at our current long distance rail, you can see we have challenges in terms of not only the infrastructure, but also the competitiveness of the service. We need to move to high speed. The sooner the better. I think once that the planning, the investment model, I think, is confirmed around that, the work can start in earnest. That's my view. Yeah. Obviously, some of the planning and feasibility needs to be done before that.
And a lot of that, I think, that trajectory is then obviously owned by the Department of Transport in terms of putting that together, or does it still fall within the ambient of PRASA?
Well, in terms of the National Rail Policy, it talks about centralized planning in terms of looking particularly at these strategic projects that would be spearheaded by the DOT. But the capacity, some of the experience resides within the entities. That will play a key role in terms of the detail, the planning, the feasibility around that, the technical aspects of these things. And I think without fail, I think this is something that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's been a lot done within the space already. And therefore I think we can move a lot quicker.
Plans that are currently on the table for network expansion?
We've got expansion plans in all of our metros. We've done this together with the planning authorities, the metros themselves. Here in Cape Town, as an example, one of the highest priorities is the Blue Downs rail link. That is linking the Khayelitsha line, the central line that we are busy with now, trying to recover. It links it back to Belleville. So it's very important that we also focus on this expansion. I've said on many occasions that our cities have grown significantly in the past 3 decades. Absolutely. But the rail has not expanded. While our immediate priority has been on rebuilding the existing network, we certainly do have the expansion plans. There's the Motherwell in Port Elizabeth, Nelson Mandela Bay. We've got the extension in Davidton, Itwatwa that we need to look at. So those are new lines. There's also expansion in terms of on some of our existing corridors, like your Hammanskraal. There's been a lot in Gauteng. There's been a huge need to also look at a commuter service on the Hammanskraal line that we need to look at. So that all forms part of the plans. I think once we've got over this immediate, if I can call it, hurdle and the investment required to rebuild and recover, I think the focus will turn a lot more sharply to the expansion of the network.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because I think it's absolutely essential that we start reaching, getting people from their places of work to their homes and being more inclusive that way. You mentioned in your speech earlier that you've made the announcement for the KZN Signalling program. I haven't officially heard anything, so who and when does that start?
Well, we appointed a consortium for the KZN Signalling. It's quite a massive program. It's in fact in terms of the implementation as well as maintenance and training and the whole process, you're looking at a 9-year program. We have just concluded now the contractual negotiations. That has been done. Okay. Contract has been signed. It's now in the period of mobilization to move on to the ground. Signalling is a critical program for PRASA. For us to truly be able to run this mass transport system of ours, we need to get the signalling running. Many of our lines, as you know, still manual authorization, and hence we're running a very limited, infrequent service. It's only once we've got the signalling up and running that you will see trains every 5 minutes in your peak. We even have the capability of running a train every 3 minutes if needs be. That's a signalling capability we will have. So it's being rolled out in KZN. We're in the mobilization phase now. I'll share with you later the details of the suppliers and so forth that we have appointed. Safe to say it's a consortium of a local and international company that will be providing the service.
All right. So one last thing to touch on, because we've spoken about it for many years, and I'm hoping to see that it's now finally, or I'm looking forward to see it finally come to fruition, and that is on the station modernization and the depot modernization. Where are you in those 2 phases? So this is not mind the gap, it's, looking after your new trains.
Let me start with the depot modernization, because that's critical for maintaining the new trains that we have. This is a program that has been significantly delayed through, in the main, our procurement processes that we have dealt with. I think I can report at this point, happy to report, that we've now made progress in pushing some of these projects forward on the depot modernization side. Key ones here in Cape Town as well as Gauteng. We should be making announcements within the next month or so around some progress around awards for depot modernization. There is some design work that is currently happening at our Salt River facility as well as in KZN in Durban. But you are correct in saying that there has been some challenges around that. We have done interim interventions at our depots to deal with the maintenance. We're also in discussions with our sister company Transnet around where they can assist with some of these things. Now, moving to the station modernization, which is a program that I think, to be fair in terms of the way it was understood, it never really got off the ground. Yeah. And I think the way it was conceived, it was perhaps not sustainable to implement it in that way. There's been, to some extent, a review and a rethink around the station modernization program. That certainly on your flagship stations, you're looking at station modernization that includes commercial development and all of these opportunities. But it's not every station that has to go through that transformation at this stage. And hence we've got a combination of saying what is more practical within the short, medium term in terms of upgrading the look and feel of the stations. And the bigger modernization, which includes commercial, will I think be guided by the foot traffic that we have, the potential for development in the area. So there has been a bit of a rethink around that. Flagship, yes, it's as you know, the bigger station modernization. The other stations, more of a focus around the upgrade, the look and feel, and modernization around the station operational matters.
So again, thank you very much for taking the time to join me for a coffee with the editor. But before we close out, I think it's quite important to mention that PRASA is a main sponsor here at the International Railway Safety Council's conference. What has it actually meant? Why has PRASA got involved to this degree?
Safety is the number one priority at PRASA. So it's critical for us to partner with these events to make sure that our commitment is not only in terms of words, but is in action as well. We want to engage with the leaders within the space, both locally, internationally. Very good working relationship with the Railway Safety Regulator that we've taken a lot of time to invest in to ensure that no favors are being done to PRASA, but that we meet the necessary safety requirements and standards to run a rail service. To demonstrate further our commitment to safety, just this year we've launched the safety campaign, Asiphephe, Let Us Be Safe, where we are rolling throughout the business refresher training, seminars, to ensure that when we get to the point we are running the high frequency service on all of our corridors, we are running a truly safe, reliable and predictable service.